Picture this. You're standing on the shoulder of a highway at sunrise, a hot coffee in your hand. In front of you, miles of fresh asphalt, still warm, with that faint smell of bitumen. Your equipment, your people, your contract. A Caterpillar D6, yellow, brand new, gleaming in the dawn light. A dump truck loading up. The operator waves at you from the cab. You have a $12 million contract, widening a highway between two cities. The governor came to the ribbon cutting, shook your hand. The local paper wrote, "New road, new future." You're the person building that future. You own a road construction company. Sounds like an empire, right? Now, here's what the ribbon-cutting photo doesn't show. The average net profit margin in road construction is 2 to 6%. That's not a typo. 2%. You risk millions to make 2%, and that's in a good year. Because road construction isn't about asphalt. It's about how not to go broke on asphalt. Let's get straight to the numbers. The U.S. road construction market, $110 billion a year. 45,000 contractors. From giants like Granite Construction, $3.5 billion in revenue, to family-owned outfits with 5 machines. 75% of these companies are small to medium. Revenue, 8 to 15 million a year. They build the roads in your county, repair the bridges, pave the parking lots at the grocery store. Looks stable. Roads are always needed. The government pays. Demand never drops. This isn't a startup. And that's true. Demand never drops. The problem is, margins never rise either. To start a road construction company, you need everything. Literally everything from scratch. And the biggest surprise is the equipment. One new asphalt paver costs $250,000 to $600,000. That's a machine that just lays asphalt. It doesn't dig it, doesn't haul it, doesn't compact it, just spreads it. A grader, $150,000 to $350,000. An excavator, $200,000 to $700,000. A roller, $100,000 to $250,000. An asphalt plant, $500,000 to $3 million. A typical mid-size company, it's an equipment fleet worth $5 to $8 million, of which $2 to $5 million is financed. Banks will lend, yes, secured against the same equipment. But the monthly payment? $30,000 to $50,000. You can't stop it. Sit idle for a month with no contract? You owe the bank $50,000. 2 months? $100,000. And here's the thing. Equipment ages. Average age of machines in the industry? 7 to 12 years. Fixing old equipment costs more than the loan payment on new equipment. But you can't buy new unless you sell the old. And you can't sell the old unless you win a new contract. And you can't win a new contract if your equipment is old and unreliable. That's a trap. A loop that's very hard to break. Next, licensing and bonding. To bid on government contracts, you need licenses in every state where you work. You need certifications for every type of work. Earthwork, asphalt, bridges, concrete. You need insurance, general liability, professional liability, environmental, workers' comp. Insurance for a typical company, $100,000 to $200,000 a year. And only after all that, you can submit a bid, where you'll compete against 10 to 15 other companies. The winner, the lowest bidder. Always. In this business, the best doesn't win. The cheapest wins. And one more thing nobody talks about. Bitumen. It's the binder in asphalt. Black, sticky, nasty stuff. Without it, roads don't exist. The price of bitumen can spike 60% in a single year. In 2020, $300 a ton. In 2022, already $600. In 2023, dropped to $400. In 2025, another spike to $550. You sign a contract in January at one price. By June, bitumen is up 40%. You're obligated to complete the work at the price locked in the contract. Your margin? Evaporated. So how do the survivors actually make money? Let's break down the economics of one contract. Say you win a highway expansion bid. Contract value, $12 million. Timeline, 18 months. Here's how the money splits. 40 to 50%. Materials. Asphalt, aggregate, bitumen, cement, sand. Everything that goes into the road. 25 to 35%. Labor and equipment. Salaries for operators, drivers, road workers, engineers. Plus fuel, a massive line item. 10 to 15%. Subcontractors. Drainage, striping, traffic signals, landscaping. 5 to 7%. Overhead. The office, the accountant, the lawyer, insurance. And only 2 to 6%. Your net profit. $12 million contract. $10.8 million in costs. $1.2 million in EBITDA. But that's before taxes, before loan interest, before equipment depreciation. After all that, you're left with $500,000 to $700,000 for 18 months of work. Divine margins, right? But there's a twist that turns this math into a nightmare. Most contracts have a liquidated damages clause, $500 to $5,000 for every day of delay. Here's the rule. 1% schedule delay eats 5% of your margin. Slip a month on a 12-month contract, you lose 25% of your profit. Slip 2 months, you're working for zero. Reasons for delay? Weather, rain, early winter, heat so intense you can't lay asphalt, material supply issues, labor shortages. Oh, labor. Road construction has a catastrophic shortage of workers. Finding an experienced asphalt paver operator is harder than finding a programmer in Silicon Valley. Average age of workers? 45 plus. Young people don't come in. Wages are rising 10 to 15% a year. And still, job postings sit open for months. You have the equipment. You have the contract. You have the bitumen. But no people. You don't work. And another layer. Subcontractors. 30 to 40% of the work is typically subbed out. Drainage systems, concrete work, guardrail installation, striping. Here's the trap. The subcontractor is a separate business. If they miss deadlines, the penalty falls on you, the prime contractor. You're responsible for everything. If the sub goes bankrupt, you lose money and time finding a replacement. And finding a replacement in the middle of construction season, that's a disaster. Let me tell you a story that explains everything. Pike Industries. If you've never heard the name, that's fine. They built roads in New England, Maine, New Hampshire, Vermont, Massachusetts. The company was founded in 1875. 145 years in business. Older than Ford. Older than General Electric. Older than most American corporations. Family business, 4 generations. They had everything. Reputation, relationships, experience, a portfolio of contracts. They built the roads your grandfather drove to work. Then, 2018, Pike Industries takes a series of massive contracts in Maine. Huge volumes, millions of dollars. They stretched themselves, took on more than they could handle. Delays started. Penalties for missed deadlines, conflicts with the client, the Maine Department of Transportation, arbitration hearings. Pike Industries loses. $36 million in judgments against them. The Maine DOT suspends the company from bidding, indefinitely. No right to submit proposals. Their parent company, Lafarge Holcim, one of the largest construction conglomerates in the world, cuts off funding. Done. In 2020, Pike Industries files for bankruptcy. Chapter 7, full liquidation. Assets sold for $55 million. 600 employees lost their jobs in a single day. A company that lived 145 years died in 14 months. From the moment the problem started to total disappearance, less than a year and a half. And you know the worst part? They didn't do anything criminal. They just took too many contracts and got caught in the rain, literally and metaphorically. This business doesn't forgive mistakes. One bad winter, one bad season, one lawsuit, and you're out of the game forever. Let's look at two scenarios: a good year and a bad year. Same company, same $12 million contract. The difference, just how the season goes. Good year. You finished the project 2 weeks early. Rainfall was exactly what you budgeted for. Bitumen prices held steady. Your operators didn't get sick. Subcontractors delivered on time. The government signed off on the work. No punch list. Your costs? $10.8 million. EBITDA? $1.2 million. 10%. After taxes, loan payments, and depreciation, you're left with about $700,000. That's a good year. That's the scenario you show your wife and your banker. Bad year. Same contract, $12 million. But in May, the rain starts. 3 weeks of downpours, crews sitting idle, the schedule slips a full month. Bitumen spikes 40%. Nobody saw it coming. One of your asphalt pavers breaks down. A new unit takes 6 weeks to arrive. Repairing the old one costs $120. Your drainage subcontractor goes bankrupt in mid-July. You're scrambling for a replacement during peak season. Premium prices. Your costs? $12.8 million. Revenue? $12 million. EBITDA? Negative $800,000. You owe the bank. You owe your suppliers. You can't take a new contract because the old one isn't closed out and all your equipment is on site. And the new season is already starting. That's the difference between a good year and a bad year. 4 weeks of rain and one bankrupt subcontractor. And you're $800,000 in the hole. Here's what the numbers say.
Out of 45,000 road contractors in the US, roughly 10% exit the market within 5 years. Some sell, some go bankrupt, some just shut down. 10%. That's a massive number for an industry where the average company age is 30 to 40 years. It's not startups dying, it's old, experienced, respected companies dying. Because age doesn't protect you from weather, doesn't protect you from bitumen price spikes, doesn't protect you from labor shortages. And you know the most interesting part? The people who actually make money in this industry aren't the ones laying asphalt. The ones making money are the equipment dealers, the bitumen producers, the banks financing the equipment, and the large companies with dozens of contracts running simultaneously. They can shift losses from one project to another. The small and mid-size contractor, they're alone with the rain, and the bitumen, and the subcontractor who might go bankrupt tomorrow. Road construction is a business that looks like a concrete wall, but it's really a house of cards made of contracts, loans, and weather forecasts. One gust of wind, and the house is gone. You look at a new road and you see asphalt, striping, smooth shoulders. You don't see what's underneath. Underneath, there are dozens of people who didn't sleep, wondering if they'd make it before the first freeze. Banks waiting for payments. Suppliers checking bitumen prices every morning. And an owner who knows next winter might be the last. Roads are built for everyone, but the person who builds them often stands alone with the hardest truth in the world. Concrete doesn't forgive mistakes, but it doesn't protect you from them either.